national Adelaja.
Hello and welcome to Dear Dr. Sunday, Adelaja, or Dear DSA as you may know it in short, or for short. And my name is BAMISAYE Victor. I'm your regular host on this program. Every week I always have with me my guest, but before I bring him on to you today, I would like to welcome you to the show. I'd like to say welcome, welcome, and welcome. So to everyone who is watching now, maybe good morning, maybe good afternoon, maybe good evening, but whatever the time is, I am hoping that it's good with you, and I welcome you. And I want to encourage you to please share this video now and invite your friends, as many as possible that will be here. So what is the Dear DSA program about? It's where we try to look at some of the letters that Dr. Sunday Adelaja has received in his inbox. He's quite a correspondent person. He replies messages a lot, and sometimes I wonder how he has time and how he finds time from his very busy schedule.
That's a very good point because I'm going to note that because something you said is very interesting. You said he is a very corresponding person, yeah. But the thing is that I want our friends to know that first of all, maybe you want to finish your presentation and tell them to go and share and all that. Then I will come and comment on that.
All right. So, guys, he's always responding somehow. I don't know how he gets to do that, but the idea is that a lot of letters come in, and some of the authors always allow us to share this, their messages, and some we just request and they say, yes, go ahead and share the letter that we've written because of the inspirational content and the way they will motivate you to become a better you. And that's the whole essence of what we are doing. That's the whole essence of this platform, to raise you from being a person to being a personality, to raise you from merely existing to living fully, to raise you from living within the context and the peripheries of your subconsciousness to living as a fully conscious human being, and to be a being and not just someone who is existing somehow. That's the only reason why we do what we do here, and we know we've been achieving some results, but that is exactly what gives us the impetus, the motivation, the drive to still read to you some of the letters that we receive on the platform. So please, today is not going to be any way less than what we've always had. In fact, it's going to be better. So that's why I am asking you, I'm urging you to please share today and invite your friends. Share on every platform that you know, and let's have a very wonderful discussion today. So here's my guest, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. You're so much welcome today.
I hope that anybody is listening to you if they are not on the football channels.
Well, some will be there, and I think some do it this way.
Maybe we'll have some ladies who might not be lovers.
And some guys, maybe I should say what they do.
Maybe you want to tell me some secrets.
Some secrets. So some people, they just put yours as audio. Okay. They put the program as audio, they are listening, and the video is a football. So they have two screens.
Invention.
But somehow, those who are meant to be here will be here. In any case, so I welcome every one of you, and I welcome Dr. Sunday Adelaja to the program today.
Yep.
Yeah. So earlier you were going to raise a point of note. So would you like to?
Yes, I wanted to talk about the thing you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
And what you mentioned is the fact that I'm a corresponding person, and that you wonder how I find time.
Yes, sir.
To respond to all the mails, and there are so many of them that I get. And that's a very, very important question. First of all, it's not a question of time. Responding to the mails is not a question of time. Number two, it's also not because I'm a corresponding person or I like to correspond. So no, it's not about that at all. It's all about one question. It's about the question of integrity. If I tell people to write me, for me, it's a matter of integrity if I answer. If I don't answer, then I'm not serious. It means I've been deceptive. Either I'm deceiving you, or I'm just trying to use you, or I'm just trying to trick you. So if I say I'm going to respond, then I must respond. And if I say I'm responding, then it's not somebody else responding, it's me responding. It's not just my secretary responding, but I've seen it, even if I'm going to designate it to somebody else or going to dictate it to somebody else, but it's still me responding. But the letter must get to me, and I must, let you know, because in your own mind, when you are writing that letter, you are thinking that you are writing Pastor Sunday. So it's only fear that I find the time to create the opportunity to respond to mail. So it's always a struggle for me to find the time and to discipline myself to do that on a regular basis, especially if you see that not all of them are, some of the letters are, they don't seem to be serious letters, or they don't seem to be letters that demand serious attention. But I still have to, because I think this person who is writing is thinking that Pastor Sunday is communicating with, so I must respond. So I'm just trying to put myself in the place of all other the people who are writing me, and that if I were the one writing to somebody else, I would have liked them to be the people reading it and responding to me. So just putting myself in the place of it. So it's about integrity, and it's about love for those people.
All right. I can testify to that, and I see some of the times that you've got to do that. But in any case, the whole idea is that you can always write DSA, and you can be sure to get a response. You can be sure to get a reply. So if you are that person, and a few people have written me and they say, please let me tell Dr. Sunday this. I say, write him. Write him is going to respond. And that's the truth. He responds to his messages. He responds to his emails. And so you have nothing to fear. Just write him. Even if it's from Facebook, write him. If it's email that you have, write, he is going to respond. And so last week we were reading the letter of one of those who took the courage to write. And it went fine from there. Right. And she's written again. And we started with the first paragraph. We couldn't go beyond the first paragraph the last time.
Yeah, this would be good to refresh the mind and memory of people watching us.
So we need to read from the beginning again, and we'll see how far we can go this time around.
Yep.
All right. So I'll read now. Hello, DSA. I have been waiting to send you this email like forever. And finally, here we are. First things first. I'm glad to let you know that I'm leaving Uncle Sam in June.
Major victory.
Why do they call the guy Uncle Sam?
Because, that one got. Because Uncle Sam is holding people in bond. In America, they have the advertisement when the government, especially the military, wants to employ you. No pamenya ije te vidi jotvorisa. Niknigu ya gavaru когда упала, когда здесь движение, надо было какой-то кадр просто поменять и одного меня показывать. When people want to employ, when the government want to employ in America, they always put out an advert, especially the military, and this is with this photograph, that the Uncle Sam is in need of you. So that is where the thing comes from.
Interesting, because somehow you look at Big Ben, Uncle Sam, you hear all of these names, you're wondering what's the history behind them.
Well, especially when it comes to military, that you have to come and serve your country.
But somehow it has become the picture for subservient workmanship.
Yes.
In the whole of the world.
Uncle Tom, Uncle Sam. Uncle Tom is a symbol of
apartheid.
Slavery.
Yeah.
Slavery. No maya galava pa mamuta matreza.
All right, so I'll continue with this letter. First things first, I'm glad to let you know that I'm leaving Uncle Sam in June, which makes it 6 months since my first book review with you on Stop Working for Uncle Sam. I have finally handed in my resignation letter. What a relief. I feel like a free bird. It's like I've escaped from a slavery camp. I'm out of breath. Give me a minute to shout hallelujah. So that was where we stopped last time. And we're doing a lot of analysis.
Beautiful, because it's a big victory for somebody who is living in the Western world to be able to say that he's free of Uncle Sam. That is a major victory and a major success. So, that thing that woman just said, it demands a celebration. It demands festivity, even if it is possible to go and organize a party. This is the kind of instance where a party is worth it, because it's like getting your freedom. It's like getting your liberty. It's like getting yourself set free from slavery. It's like a jubilee. So it's a jubilee kind of that that happens when somebody gets free from Uncle Sam, and that is God's idea. In the Old Testament, we know about Jubilee, that during the time of Jubilee, anybody who is holding a slave, should let them go. And that is the kind of thing that is happening with this job situation. It's like, it's as good as slavery, and it's as good as, getting freedom from slavery. Or when they are apprentices back in Nigeria in those days, they used to work for their masters, like for a few years, and then they get freedom. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that people who get free from Uncle Sam should be celebrating. And in those days, when people get freedom, they normally celebrate. So it's about the same thing should happen when people really get this freedom from Uncle Sam. Yep.
All right. So, I guess that's why she said, give me a minute to shout hallelujah.
Yeah, because she knows what it means. I mean, waking up every morning, going to work from 8 o'clock, and sometimes you need to leave home at 7 or at 6, and going out the whole day, and then coming back at 9, not seeing your children, not seeing your husband, because your husband also is hanging out with somewhere with Uncle Sam, trying to do his own dues. And, it's just a difficult life when it comes to Uncle Sam in the West.
But why do you think, sir, that there's so much inequality between people, even though they may be putting in the same amount of, at least, let's say, physical work?
Inequality where?
In economic inequality.
I don't get it.
I'm thinking the only reason why people do Uncle Sam is because they are trying to make ends meet and cover up some gap within the economic gap, to cover up the economic gap. So, but somebody is working this hard, and that person is working, let's say, this hard, but this person is making just almost little, living below the breadline, even though he's working hard.
Well, I don't think that's where the problem is, because that depends on your education, that depends on your profession, that depends on the offers you get, that depends on the business, the company. It depends on a lot of things why people make different salaries. But the thing that should be of more concern is that it doesn't matter what salary you make, you still can't make ends meet. That is when the Uncle Sam reality is really tough. And what this book is describing the fact that the higher your salary grows, the more desperate and the more in need you become, the more lack you suffer, even when your salary is growing.
Someone described job to mean just over broke. Do you agree with that concept?
Yes. Sometimes it's not even over broke, it's just below broke. Job is just the best way to say it is slavery, it's captivity. We are not created for jobs, we are created for work.
And you describe work as a form of wealth.
Yes, it's one of the greatest resources that God has given unto us. It's a major resource from God. It's a wealth from God, in the sense that it's only through work that you could unleash and discover all other wealth that God has given to you.
Wow. So the most important converting factor for all of the wealth and the resources that God has given to us is the wealth called work. So we just must find out what work are we meant to do, because when you are doing the work that is not meant for you, you just may be missing purpose, may be missing your calling, you may be missing your goal, and nothing you do will ever be satisfactory. And usually when people don't know what to do, it's very easy for other people to make them do
what they want.
Do. Yeah. All right, sir. So I guess we should go through the second paragraph of this letter,
right?
And we kickstart today on that note.
Okay.
All right. So after much thought and consideration, I have decided it was time to go. It was painful at first to take this decision, but I was comforted when I started to read your book. Why losing your job is the best thing that could happen to you.
Yep. I just released the second part of that book, which is, I think I just saw it here. Stop Looking for Work is the name of the book. Stop looking for work. Yeah, Stop Looking for Work. Anyway, we'll show it next time.
Okay.
Stop Looking for Work is the second part of that, why losing your job is the best thing that could happen to you. Is stop looking for a job. Stop looking for a job. That's what it's called. Yes.
So there's this concept with jobs. I was told that usually when someone has worked somewhere for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, they rather settle for the security that job provides. Okay. And do not even want to look for another opportunity. Why do you think that it exists?
Just because a lot of people, and not just a lot of people, most people, they prefer security and predictability, peace, and that predictability to them is preferable to taking risk. So to most people, taking risk and change, even change itself is risk. And so that risk of change is too risky for them. They would rather maintain what they have by staying where they are.
Mm-hmm. So there could be an attachment that comes with a job that you will never want to leave.
Especially if it is well paid. You might be feeling discomfort in your heart, but the fear of loss, of losing the job, the fear of the unknown, always keeps people captive.
Wow. And someone once said that it's better we live by our hopes than our fears.
Our fears, yes.
That may not be totally working in the case of job. Especially when one has that mindset.
People have to be informed, and you have to be more informed than your fear. But before you can follow through with your hope rather than your fear.
All right, so I'll continue with the letter. It said, but I was comforted when I started to read your book, Why Losing Your Job is the Best Thing That Could Happen to You. The first pages of the book changed my approach to this matter because anxiety almost wanted to take hold of me. It wasn't easy at all, but when you think about it, I was frustrated, shattered, battered, and almost lost confidence in life because of being subjected to the system.
Yeah, that's what Musam does for you. It leads to frustration, it leads to being battered, it leads to being reduced, and being unhappy in life just because you know the potential that you have inside of you. In some cases, you might even know your calling, and in some cases, you might have the idea of what you are supposed to be in life. But unfortunately, because of the need to survive and to make a living, you are being forced to compromise your destiny, to walk away from what you know, and rather stick to, just animalistic survival instinct, rather than living an informed lifestyle.
Yes, sir. So on this basis, before we continue with the letter, especially for those who are listening to you now and who are getting to know you more and they hear all of this thing, there comes a point where there's a conflict, because that conflict comes from existential crisis. Because when one starts listening to you and starts digesting your message, it comes to the point it's asking, why am I here? So when you start to get a hold of why you're here, and it's antithetical, it's contradistinctive, it's different from what your reality is. So that's where this feeling of frustration comes in, because now you are seeing what you could be and you are seeing what you are, or you're seeing the reality in front of you that is not leading to where you think you should be. But you gave three exclusions for people, three reasons why people or three categories of people, or three reasons why people can, why Uncle Sam is permitted for some certain people. Maybe I should mention it, then you elaborate on that. Yeah, so you said first is when you need it for experience. You said when you need it to raise capital, and the third one you said when you need it to use as a platform to make human connections. So would you like to elaborate on that, so that someone who is listening to you now, who may be at that phase in life, who cannot but do with these three things, for instance, that I mentioned, will not be going through frustration, but would at least know with the purpose of why he or she is doing what he's doing at that particular point in time?
Yeah, I think I have to start with the existential crisis that comes to people as a result of listening to me. And I acknowledge the fact that people experience and get the fall into existential crisis after listening to me, most of the time because Adela. So the existential crisis is normally because most of the people who think or who experience the crisis, they never really thought about existence and life before. They just live in their regular life, or they are just existing. So when they are challenged, the crisis begins when they begin to see that, oh wow, it's true, I was just existing. And normally they will not believe that they were just existing. Normally it is difficult for people to admit that they were simply existing. They think they are living. And even what they are familiar with, that is called life by their environment and their immediate families, is most of the time mostly just survival, just existing. And so when I now begin to make them to think, I begin to challenge their thinking faculties, and I begin to challenge their existence itself. That's when the crisis begins. The second crisis, that existential crisis that comes to people's life when they listen to me, is the fact that they begin to experience the vanity of everything they had dedicated their lives to before, or what they had seen as valuable. They begin to see it as nothing, because it was actually nothing. Only nobody has challenged them or opened their eyes to see it. Besides that, pamomu kniga tam nimeyaisa adnahitaji sama kniga stalas. No, nada jimeyaji потому что одна и то же самое не надо. So ilidrugie kartini like that. So the issue is that when people have that issue of, what should we now do? That is what we call existential crisis. And but instead of me to say that my teachings have brought crisis or existential crisis into these people's lives, I would rather say they should begin to thank God that they even came across a situation like that when they could have that shaking and they could be challenged in their concepts and belief system to the extent of having even existential question posed to themselves. That existential question is not being even posed by a lot of people to themselves ever. But that's actually the most important question that must be posed to every living being. And which is only after you pose that question, experience the crisis, survive the crisis, then you begin to be available for the answer. And when the answer is there now, that's what will eventually lead you to a meaningful life. So without the existential crisis, there would not be a meaningful, there would not be chance for a meaningful life. So that is what I would like to start with, because a lot of people who are living what we call life is a replacement of the original. It is the fake, the artificial that we have come to recognize as life. Unfortunately, most of the people who are alive today don't really know what life means. And life and the concept of life is so vague and mysterious to so many people that, they never even knew that it could be changed or it could be challenged. So, but what we are supposed to, what these books of mine are supposed to do to people is to challenge them and stimulate their mind to at least begin to know that there is something for in life, or there is a reason to life higher and greater than the very mundane animalistic demands of instinct and stimulation that they are used to experiencing.
Oh.
I know you asked slightly different question, but that's
that's one part.
The beginning of
that's one part.
Talk.
That's one part. And I mean, this could in fact lead us to another realm that we would even move away from the topic, but I wouldn't want us to do that. Maybe we'll do another program, maybe somehow, to discuss life in itself, the nothingness of life, the meaningfulness of life. Are we the ones to give life meaning, or does life has a meaning in itself that we are just to discover? I mean, a lot of questions about life in itself in that regard. So, or you want to comment a little on that?
Well, if you notice my works, I think it's easy to notice that a lot of them are dedicated to the issues of life. And with what I've been seeing and noticing so far, and I stand to be corrected because I don't know everything, but with what I know, I guess if there is any other person out there who addresses the issues of life more than I do, or have written on life more than I do, it should be very few. I should be one of the top 3 individuals in the world, not just in the world of today, but in the world even before now, the world generally, who takes the question of life as a cardinal point and who addresses the issues of life. For example, I think I have up to 10 books on life alone. If you see all my books, you begin to look at them, you might be able to count up to 10, just talking about the issues of life, how to understand life itself. For example, one is the essence and value of life, for example. Another one is how to get what you need in life. Another one, for example, is who wins in life. The latest I just released is this one, life's greatest secret. Then another one is how to live an effective life. It just keep on going.
Calling purpose.
Another one is am I a personality? So all my teachings are having, a lot of them have to do with understanding life. Because if you don't understand life, you have something, you possess something, and you don't know what you possess. First of all, you stand the chance of losing it. Secondly, you are going to be deceived. You're going to be scammed by other people who understand what you possess while you don't understand it. And another possibility is that you are going to be abusing your own life because you don't understand what you have. And another thing is that when you don't understand what you have, things are going to be difficult for you because the person that doesn't understand how to go to the city, the life is hard for him because he doesn't know the way. So he gets lost and things get complicated for you unnecessarily. So lack of understanding of life. I preached a message one time about give me understanding.
Yeah.
I hope maybe I'll be able to write a book on that one day. And understanding is very important. But when we talk about understanding, a lot of people are trying to understand science. Not bad. Some are trying to understand medicine. Not bad. Some try to understand finances. Okay. But the most important thing I think should be understood, first of all, above everything else, is to understand life itself. And few people do understand what life is. So people who, if we could take it serious to understand life, that is one thing you will find with Pastor Sunday without any attempt to be modest. If you will only get to study Pastor Sunday, you will understand life more than maybe you've ever understood it before. Because most people are conditioned when it comes to life. They do what they have seen. They live the way they have been brought up. They are just been conditioned and packaged into some stereotypes that they follow. But when you come to understand, when you come to encounter Pastor Sunday, he first of all tears everything down and now challenges you, gives you the building blocks that you have to take the building blocks by yourself and begin to do your own construction of your own life, building your life and making your life become a whole that you can define, that you can relate to, that you can explain. And one of the reasons why that is so is because, especially when we talk about Christianity, even when you talk about Christianity, only very few people have an understanding of Christianity as a whole, as a concept from beginning to the end. Why does God even create the earth? Why did he create the man? Why did Jesus come? Why do we have the church? What is happening? Why do we have to die? Or, why? What is Bible? What is New Testament? What is Old Testament? What is that all about? I've not listened to 5% of pastors in the world that understood the whole holistic systemic theology of how everything is supposed to be, how it was taught out in the beginning, and why things are the way they are. Very few people, even I'm talking about pastors now, even understand God, and talk less of life. So that's one thing about the mentorship, something that I started. The most important thing people will get in that mentorship school or mentorship program is that they will understand life, they will understand themselves, they will understand God, and they will understand themselves, they will understand God, they will understand life. And those are three major understanding that very few people know. So sadly, very few people know.
Yeah. And I guess that's why Solomon said there is sorrow in knowledge. Because I wonder, with everything and you're looking at almost all of us.
Yeah.
And we seem to be going probably in the opposite direction.
It's like everybody else is groping.
Yeah, and you said something one day, and I think that's quite instructive. You said you awoke, and you realized that the whole world was sleeping.
That's the way I feel most of the time. I feel that, but what I don't even care much about ordinary people who are just ordinary human beings, because you don't demand much from them. They are just people. They're just ordinary. But I'm talking about 3%. When you even get to the top 3% of the world, who are teaching the rest of the world. So what are you teaching? You yourself don't even understand what life is all about, or what God's idea is all about of life, what the whole thing is all about. What are you then teaching? So people just teach dogmas. People just teach dogmas and whatever they have been taught, or that has been passed over to them by other people. So that's why that mentorship program, I mean, it's just blowing people's mind up. I mean, people are saying, so you mean the life that what I had been calling life all along? So you mean it's different from what you, because he was my friend. He thought everybody is living life. He is living his life. I'm living my life. We are all living the same life. He said until he started the mentorship program, he discovered this man is living he's not living the same life I'm living. No. So what I'm calling life and what he's calling life, we are talking about different things. Yeah. And the life that he is living, even though we're on the same planet Earth, but that man is living a different one than me. Yeah. But most people don't even think that could be possible.
Because they look at it from the biological aspect alone. But if it were to be biological, then the question would be, what's the difference between a man and a plant? Within the parameters of functioning biologically, the plant is fulfilling its functions.
Well, I think maybe even in the case of this man, he might maybe even understand the fact that, yes, biological existence is inferior. But he, for example, is a big believer in success and excellence. So he was living for that. His father was a professor. I think his mother was a professor too. And he, he finished secondary school in Nigeria, was, moved to England, paid for by his parents, studied in the university in England, first degree, second degree, working as an educationist, trying to be the best everywhere. And then, so that's what he knows. So he is not satisfied about living the empty biological life. He wants to live the highest life that he knows. But when he joined the mentorship program, he discovered so even the one he is talking, like his two parents, mother, father, professors, well-to-do, rich, and he himself is on that same path. Even the father is calling him now to come back to Nigeria to inherit the family business and the other. But when he now started listening to me proper, he used to listen to me before, but when he started, he has been following me for the past 13 years. But when he, just here and there. Yeah. But when he started properly following and listening, he discovered that. So that success he was running after,
not
the academic excellence, the fame, because what he said is that all things that he had called life before, all of it just disappeared. Because, for example, I said, you don't live for the WWP. That nobody should live for those things. Don't live for wealth, don't live for wisdom, and don't live for power. Or rather, don't live for wisdom, don't live for wealth or power. But he said, if you say I shouldn't live for those things, I shouldn't live for wisdom, and I'm an academician, so you are killing me. That's the end of my life. If I shouldn't live for wealth, he said, but why am I doing with the wisdom? For me to be rich now, and when I'm rich, for me to be powerful, even the wealth, even the wisdom itself, I want to be powerful. That's why I am doing it. So, drugi kadro je možda je nada mentorship. So, if life is not in gaining wisdom, because I gain wisdom so that I'll be able to prove to other people that I know what they don't know.
Yeah.
That's life when I'm smart and wiser than all other person. And I know that I can talk, everybody can listen to me. That is what life is all about. I can speak English, I can go to university, I can say I have PhD. That is, making me better than other people. Yeah. So when now you are being told that life is not being better than other people, so that it means all the years of my investment on that wisdom is all the waste. So then what will I be about? Then apart from that, you also discover that not only life is not about wisdom, life is also not about wealth. So that means you brought confusion altogether. So how will I survive? So if life is not about wisdom, okay, I understand. What about wealth? If life is not about wealth, so what is life? Then there is no life again. So to him and many other people, he was a pastor. These are good people. So when life is not in those things, then there is no life now. So, and then thirdly, he said life also is not in power. But I want to have power now so that I will be able to have influence, so that people will respect me, so that I will be able to, respect myself. I'll be valuable in the society.
Power is the ultimate pursuit of all men.
So all those three things are the ultimate pursuit of all men in his own understanding. That is life. So he was saying this very same thing you said I shouldn't live for. This is life for
this
us.
Is exactly why we
This
live.
is exactly why we These are the exact things that we are living for.
And that's not exclusive to him, even myself. Because, why did I go to medical school? So that I can become a doctor who will do certain things and I will be known. It was just about me. It was about me. It was about wealth. It was about wisdom so that I can stand among my peers. And in fact, not even among my peers, among those who have gone ahead of me. I can stand and they are like, oh, where's this guy coming from? With what I know. That's why I study as much as I used to. That's why I used to know what I know. And ultimately, that they can give me that respect is the power. And when I get to the pinnacle of power at this level, I want to go to the next.
It's only with that cycle.
So I'm done from being known in my local government or in my school. I want to be known in the state. I'm done with being known in the state. I want to be known in the country. I'm done with being known in the country. I want to be known world over. So I want to be the Abinga of power. I want power to devolve around me. And that's why, in fact, many of those who have made it, and especially in Nigeria, you see, all these old men can't go. They don't go because this is all we know. We never get tired of holding on to power. We never get tired of being the center of attention around which people will come and sit down to get wisdom. So we never get tired of being rich. So this is...
You cannot let it go.
Yeah, those who we look at within our society as the guys who have it all together. It's WWP, we say in them. Wealth, wisdom, and power. That for us is the ultimate life. So you must be bringing something else. So when you now bring that something else, I now understand it. How can you save me from existential crisis? How can you then save me from existential crisis? So for him now, I'm trying to see his mind. For someone who's gone that far,
he said he was in crisis. So he took my book, The Essence and Value of Life, and he said he has read it, I think, 18 times now. And also he took my other books and my series on the YouTube, Why We're Here, Why Planet Earth. And, he just, and all my messages on mentorship program, it just started,
devouring.
Yeah, it just started going over and over again. He said, because I discovered that I have to my own content. He said he first of all became depressed. I said, how can you become depressed by listening to me? I thought people should be happy. He said, let me explain to you. So that's what he explained.
I'm even thinking, sir, that this must be where Solomon got to.
And said vanity
upon vanity. Because I don't think Jesus would ever say life is vanity.
No, he was... Jesus got it all together.
And Solomon is the wisest man.
Yeah.
And many of us are not even as wise to any degree compared
But
to
it's
Solomon.
because he's wise that he thinks, that he began to think like that. He got to that point. People who are not wise, they don't think, they think everything is okay. They just begin to drink.
Because I'm thinking Solomon at that point in his life suffered from existential crisis.
Yeah. And with Solomon, that's a proof that he's a thinking person, because he was asking questions. But for other people who are living around him, we don't remember their names, and they are not there because they are just living an animalistic life, biomasses. As long as they can drink, sleep with women, have children, many wives, many children, and just drink and go ahead and just to them they don't even know why should you even be questioning anything.
Because we know with Solomon he got wealth to the maximum, got wisdom to the maximum, had power to the maximum. This is a guy who they did not even challenge. He never fought a war. Everyone was at peace with him. They were even bringing him gifts. So I'm thinking, why should they ever think everything is vanity?
Yeah, because he thinks. He's a thinking person. And I have proved to people that everything is vanity. And especially in that book, in those two books, which is The Essence and Value of Life, and Where Are the Heroes, and Where Let the Heroes Arise. Those two books were, and then this book here, I Am a Person, Am I a Personality? Then there will be another book that will be Man or Mouse.
Yeah, My Man or a Mouse. Wow, so guys, I mean, there's a whole lot going here, but there's still one question DSA will be answering soon, and so just to give clarity. Now you know that you will get to that point where everything that used to make sense will suddenly not make sense again. Where those things that used to look forward to and used to wake up for will start frustrating you.
No, but if you are going to add to those three ones are just the main ones.
Yes.
But for example, if we are going to go into details like family, that is also vanity.
Yeah.
That's when Christians will be affected. The children, when you begin to go to that point, that is also vanity. That's when that's when Christians will really say, how can you say family? That's when their own crisis will begin. Their own crisis will begin when we begin to say that
families,
wife, husband, that is all vanity, or children. That is when their own, it's just VVP we are talking about.
I'm hoping we get there. I'm hoping we get there. Okay, so DSA, I would like you to respond to the 3 exceptions that I raised earlier. I would like you to speak on it. The 3 exceptions, the 3 cases here where it's permitted.
Uncle Sam.
That you can do Uncle Sam.
Yes. Okay, like we showed you, Uncle Sam is the book, and they will show you there, I guess.
Stop working for Uncle Sam.
Stop working for Uncle Sam, yes. So, stop working for Uncle Sam, yes, it does. It's not like a taboo to work for Uncle Sam. It's not a taboo. But it is an aspiration and a desire for every human being to be free from slavery and to aspire for freedom and liberty. Yeah, and then to aspire for fulfillment. So in line of these thoughts, then Uncle Sam will be something that everybody should strive to put behind them. However, there are stages in life. And because there are stages in life, you cannot just immediately start out in life avoiding Uncle Sam. Because if you start by growing up as a child, you become an adolescent, you become a teenager, then you become an adult. So the same thing with life. As you are growing in life, you need to be taught by somebody. Sometimes Uncle Sam could present that platform where you are being taught. So that's why, one of the instances you mentioned, right?
Yes, sir.
That, you might need to be in Uncle Sam to get that skill. And the expertise and the experience that you need. Then the second reason why you might need to be under Uncle Sam still is that, you know, you might need to be faithful, right?
Yeah. For skills, for
skills,
connection,
yeah,
with people who
yeah,
are in that
that
field.
is exactly what I'm saying. That you have to be faithful in little,
Yeah.
before much is trusted into you. And it is this stage, or in the process of you being faithful in in little, that you will have connection, and you will be able to be connected with people. You'll be able to build platforms and relationships. That is the second reason. But it is in a process of you working with other people, being faithful in a team, being faithful to somebody else. Jesus said, if you are not faithful in another person's else, things, that you will not be trusted with your own. And if you are not faithful in little, you cannot get your own, cannot get much. So that is where all those, it builds and gives you a platform to be able to fall back on in terms of people, connections, and
Capital.
because other resources that you might need. Then finally, you need to go to endure Uncle Sam, working for Uncle Sam, because you, in the meanwhile, while you are preparing to go into your own field of influence, or to your own land of promise, you might need to survive in the meanwhile. And since nobody might be feeding you, you might need to be working, let's say, for 6 hours for Uncle Sam while you are building your own platform, or while you are building your future engagement. Okay, you are still on the way. So you are still building yourself. You have not yet been known yet. You have not yet, well, whatever your calling is, it's not bringing in money yet. So while you are developing that, you might parallel need to survive and to make some money. And that might be another reason why you need Uncle Sam.
Yeah. But in all of that, the difference will be that you have the goal. You have where you are going.
You know that you are only in this Uncle Sam for a certain period of time. So you have a limit, a time limit that you have given yourself. I'm only working for this Uncle Sam maybe for 2 years or 1 year or 3 years. By that time, I should have been able to build my own platform. I should have been able to have my own territory. I should have been able to have my own recognition, and that will be giving me enough money and be able to sustain me as well.
Yeah.
And I would have been able to get enough expertise, for example.
Yeah. Because last week you mentioned that those who are already in it, it takes them like 3 years to program themselves out of it. But the author was able to do that in 6 months.
Yes, because she is standing on the shoulder of, if the author will tell you, the author is a very serious lady, and she's standing on the shoulder of the information I've given her. So she don't even need to do it sometimes. You might not even do Uncle Sam one day, depending on what you know. So what she has done is that she took this book, started working for Uncle Sam. She took How to Build a Secure Financial Future. She took Money Won't Make You Rich. And she took Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset. So she took all those different books. So Stop Working, for Uncle Sam is one. How to Build a Secured Financial Future. How to Build a Secure Financial Future. Money Will Make You Rich. Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset. So all those things, by the time she put them together, she was able to, she was ready enough to be able to build a system that will make her to be free from Uncle Sam, not in 3 years, but in 6 months. But actually, if you thoroughly explore those knowledge and those books, including How to Regain Your Lost Years, you might even not need to work for Uncle Sam one day. You might be serving, doing other things, and gain all those experiences, gain the finances, gain other things in a different ways, through knowledge and through wisdom, than by definitely going under Uncle Sam.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, DSA, for those nuggets. And I believe that those who are
my own concern about all these things is that why? Somebody explain to me why. Why should I'm frustrated. I think I would have been happy if there are other people writing on these topics. No way. People are just writing on religious topics. Thank God that Miles Monroe came. Miles Monroe started talking about potential and calling. Any other person who is a Christian want to write any other thing, maybe they just write, apart from religious thing, they will talk about calling and purpose. That's all. Then, but real issues like this. So I'm thinking, and not just Christian people don't always raise these topics. Even secular people sometimes. You just wonder that, it's like God is, but your God is not dead though. You know God is still speaking.
Yeah.
And God, his own knowledge and wisdom, is endless, is limitless, is infinite. So if we are so close with him and we are his children, we should be having endless supply of wisdom and knowledge that should be resolving all issues and problems of life. But at least somebody has to show the way.
Yeah.
Because even people that I've respected, that have written a lot of books, like Kenneth Hagin, or people like that, or Oyedepo, they're all writing religious stuff.
With no conversion technique.
And they don't even go out of their own little topic that they are talking about. They don't talk about other issues of life. Like this Uncle Sam, for example. How many times have you read a book that is talking about getting free from Uncle Sam? Maybe they are there, but you don't even hear it.
Yeah.
You don't even have many people challenging your conventional concept of life. Like we spoke about last time, that my own, another area of life that I'm challenging, apart from this concept of Uncle Sam, is going to be education. Yeah. That because people will be rendered redundant. So.
Yeah, in the next few
50 years, yeah. But before then, I'm already saying that the key will be self-discovery and self-realization. You don't need a job when you will not need a job.
That's why a lot of retirees commit suicide.
They lose the essence of life.
They lose the essence because they've always lived for their job. So
or by their job.
Or by their job. So by the time you take that away from them, it's like they become redundant and they do not feel like they are a part of the society anymore. But like you have also said, that retirement only means that you are
leaving your children to come and
that it means that you never even discovered life.
Oh yeah,
that's what it means to retire.
You don't retire from purpose.
Yeah. And there was one of your books, though not released, that talks about how the system is. So when you start talking about the fact that children is vanity, probably they will get it with the system is like this. It's like a machine. You have to carry it. You are the spoke of that machine. So without you, it will not work. So
the wheel.
Yeah, the wheel. So you are the one they set into it that is making it run. Then when you are tired, they now say you have retired. They will now replace you with
your children.
With your children, everybody.
That's why they always
they're encouraging you to give birth to more people who will replace you.
They pay you benefits and give you increase in salaries so that you'll be able to say, oh, now we have 5 children now we have bigger house, we have bigger car. But all that is to induce you to give birth to replacement. So that when you are run out of town and you are sent to die to your grave or to retirement, there will be people you would have bred replacement.
Somehow I can't wait for this your book. I will attend my funeral.
You think people should have it?
Oh God. though personally, I'm still ready to lay my hands on this finally so I can consume it.
But
that one that I got that time, who will attend your funeral? I don't think you will read it. I don't care how many of pastors' book you've read. I don't think you will read that one and you will not shift. You will shift. So I think, in fact, that book should be called Life Shift. If it has a nickname.
Like we had Church Shift.
Yeah. It should be called Life Shift. So Life Shift in the sense that it will move you from where you are to just another point. Probably it will get you to where you need to be, or it will get you towards the road of where the direction you need to be going, but it will shift you for sure. I mean, looking at the story of Alfred Nobel and how you were able to relate it to how our lives could be. What would happen if today you are to die? Challenging people to write their obituary now and in 10 years. If they die now and if they die 10 years. And the results, I mean, you did that, of course, in training, while you were training the people. But to read all of those and to ask myself the real question of,
to face it.
If today,
to face death now
I die. If I'm told you are going to die in the next 20 seconds, would I start regretting? Or would I feel proud?
The book is edited now.
Yeah, it is.
It's finished editing.
Yeah, it is.
I think we should release it. Since you have been talking about it so much, I think you have been pulling people's legs. People's appetite. You have been whetting their appetite.
Because I think when someone reads that book and now mix it with this, I think is on the way to answering life's real question. Life's real question. Life's real question. There you even spoke about the making of heroes, although that's not how you made it. That's not how you quoted it, but that's the sense. What makes heroes different from ordinary people?
Human beings.
What makes it that this one is celebrated and this one is not?
But that's one of the things that make me to pity Africa. You know those kind of questions. Even in the West, people don't ask. See how many lives have been wasted every day.
And you spoke about the workforce.
Until you ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
Who will come to my phone? Until you ask yourself that question.
Because what led me to that is while you were talking, you also in that book you addressed the fact that, for example, do you think you used the USSR example that you think you are more hardworking than those guys? In fact, they were working.
Yeah.
They were working after they finished. Nobody remembered them.
Yeah.
Those who built all the infrastructures, nobody remembers their name.
Factories and things.
They were sustaining the economy. But nobody remembers them. So what makes me now think?
When I was writing that book, I took my team to the burial ground, to the cemetery, to come and look. And
another one which was metaphorical was when you were talking about the bus that was going in the direction of the mortuary. So that's metaphorical. Well, let me not wait people's appetite. But I mean,
no, I think I will release the book then. Yeah, if it's
with that, I think it
should help people.
It will. In fact, it will. It will for sure. So I think we should try to finish a paragraph. No, we can't finish the letter today. For sure, let's just finish the second paragraph. That's all we can do.
Okay.
All right. So I'll read again from the beginning of paragraph. After much thoughts and consideration, I have decided it was time to go. It was painful at first to take this decision, but I was comforted when I started to read your book. Why losing your job is the best thing that could happen to you.
But some people would think that how can somebody write that kind of book?
That's antithetical. Very contrast distinctive to common sense. How can you say losing your job is the best thing? It's a tragedy. What do you mean? It's a tragedy, a huge tragedy to say I lost your job. When someone loses, has his face in his palms. People get depressed for that.
People are sad.
Yeah, generally. That's what it is. So you are coming out to say losing it is the best thing that could happen to you. What do you mean? First sense, the first question to that is it crazy? That's the first question an average reader would be asking.
What about if that kind of book gets to Nigeria?
My problem always in Nigeria is we did read it. Because, for instance, I was telling you about the book, the resource center I want to create. Naturally, as of this time, I should be requesting for books to send there as of now. But I can't do that because if I send the books there, who will read it? So I need to go there first, try to create an appetite for reading in the minds of few people.
There's one guy that called in one time, and I think Favor is his name. Favor is from Delta area, and he said, now, in fact, he said he's just being tempted every day. I said, why? For what? He said, I just want to sit down at home and be reading your books. He said, I don't even feel like going to work again because these books, he said, he mentioned some of them that he has read. He said, everyone I read, he said, each one of them can change Nigeria. So he wants to go and see his governor and say, please, I beg you, please, at least 4 or 5 of these books recommend to be compulsory in all secondary school or primary school. Because he says that these things will change Nigeria, each one of these books.
In fact, particularly with my political ambition and everything I want to do, I'm just going to focus. I'm not even going to spend my time with old people. I'm going to focus on secondary school.
Future. Okay.
So even university, I'm not going to focus so much on them because by the time I get back, most of them are already going to be so much of adults. But if I focus on primary school, secondary school, by the time I'm coming back fully, they will be youth. They will be the force, and they will be the one to help champion the vision. So I'm thinking if we can indoctrinate them with the right mindset now, the right value system now, I think it would help a lot. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how, and I'm challenging somebody watching me now. You have seen these materials. It doesn't matter if you start with 2 or 5 people. I read of the story of 3 people, although their names are forgotten now. A woman met them at the corner of the street, spoke with them, and started mentoring them. And one became the president of America, the other one became the governor of Central Bank, and the other one became just something
Treasury,
about the 3 of them defined how America was going to be in 8 years. Those 3 people. And in fact, how did the communization of China start? It started by Lenin sending 3 people. Sending people, and they got just 3 guys. Just 3 guys. So
just the right industrialization.
Yeah. So I'm challenging somebody, the knowledge you have now, please look for how you can impact it to at least 1, 2, 3. If you can do 10, good. People, children, let's go for the children. They are the future of that country. They are the future. Let's do it with them. And the thing with youth and children is that they are very energetic. So when they get it, they are always very excited to share. So it will spread. It will spread. So let's look at how we can get the future. I don't know so much about people, especially in your generation. I even fear more for people in my own generation. So that's why I'm looking at the younger ones now. I think they are the ones we really need to concentrate on, to invest so much in that.
But what is making me happy is that people who are reading my books in Nigeria now, they are saying, if this is the kind of book, if this is the way book is, we would have been reading. It's like they are saying there is a difference.
Sure. Because working with you made, in fact, even to write books, it makes it so simple.
Wow.
So
even to write, not just to read.
No, not just to read. To write, it makes it
to read
simple.
Is one thing.
Yeah. So, but where the work is now with writing is in having the thought process, which is not always easy. Because right now, having worked with you, there's a level of cognition or cognitive ability processing that I cannot function below. So that means that to write now, for me, it's more of the research that I'm doing, not just for the sake of writing, but for the becoming. Because until I have become what I have gotten in terms of the information and the value system, it could just be repeating what another person has said, and I have not really become. So that may take you time, but the moment you get a value system, the moment you have it and you've become it, Pastor, with working with you, I have learned just how easy it is. My last book, the book I just released now, I wrote the core of it in 3 days, actually, because the other was just
This
added.
is something that people don't do in 1 year.
Yeah, the core of it, I wrote it in 3 days. So which I also know that I was going out then. So if I was to sit at home and the way I know how you work now, in fact, and this is not pressure, this is not talking too much, sir. It's just what it is. The system, the organization, they know what you want to talk about here, what you want to address. They know the story and the statistics to put in it to buttress your point, to make it relatable. So people who are reading your book are reading relatable stuffs with the mindset changing thought processes. So you are telling the story of this person to buttress why you must not live your life like this. You are telling the story of this person to buttress why you are telling the story of a country to show why these people are living like animal farm and these people are living like industrialized world. So everything moves coordinated. So with that system, so it's very easy.
It is easier for them to read. Why they are saying no, they are enjoying it.
Yeah, they are enjoying it.
He said they don't just enjoy it; they want to go and do something.
Yeah. So with and the truth with your book is when you pick it up, the demarcations, the way it doesn't just go like that. So you can know where to stop and continue again.
Yes.
So it's really
everything is thought. Yeah. Everything is there's a thought process.
Thought process to everything. So and although for me now, the beauty of staying with you is not in reading your books. For me,
it's another. There's
it's another level on its own. So that's why those who will watch HMT on TV, they get information. Those who will come for HMT, it's another level. Those who will stay behind after HMT to just read you, it's just another level.
Those who will read the book,
it's
another level.
A friend gave me a book to read, and we're meant to discuss it. And so the book is a very powerful book, very powerful. And I said, this book is simple, it's basic. So it looked like I was doing ITK, and I was very careful to say that. But the difference that made, and I'm not flattering you, sir, this is the truth for me. The difference between that is that the things that were written in that book, which were very powerful, are things that you are just passing, you just correct me. No, don't do that to a lady. No, don't. You don't say things that way. No, for you it just moves like very fast. So it's a value system. So by the time I'm reading that value system that has become me as some information in a book, for me it's basic. So not because the book is not powerful, but because of the way I've been able to relate with you and get value system and get thought processes from you. And it has, okay, I can remember maybe you remember this day. I was reading the first line of the letter, and you asked me, what can you say from that? And I said I would like to read the rest. And just there you said, no, you should be able to know where is going, the destination of this letter, just from the first line. And just there you showed me how to do it. So, and that one was on camera. Imagine the ones behind the scenes. Don't absorb the right of another person to give his own opinion. When this is happening, so those value system, because they are very thick, and you have become it. So it's not just an information. And you see, for you now, when someone comes and asks you a question, and I've seen that a lot of times, we come with our deep questions, especially when I remember some of the times with you with Anu the Roman, we come with some of those deep questions, and you just and you give the answer straight away. Why can you do that? Because you have become that answer. So it's just easy for you to flow to release it. So for me now, having those value system, having those thought processes, having those ability to reason. So if I have to write a book, all I just need to do is to go into the well of the thought process I've been able to form for myself, not just the information I've received from you. That is head knowledge. So it has to become a part of me, so that by the time I'm expressing it as me. So when that level is reached, you're on top of the world. You will write, you will read, you will do anything. So there are just different levels to it, but I can understand for those, especially who are just encountering your books, there's going to be a lot of redefinition for them, because they are practical. You can see exactly where you are making the mistake. You can see exactly what you need to do. It just shows you. And that's why I think it's almost going to 10 years now since you wrote Money Won't Make You Rich. And someone is reading and saying, wow, I never knew this exists. I never knew this. Because by the time they see the information, it's quite different from everything they've seen. They can relate to it. It's producing for them. And that's why we keep reading letters. And people are referring to the books they read and how it transformed them. And this is not just one book everybody is talking about. No, different books.
And but you are talking about the ones that they don't know yet.
Yeah. I'm even talking about the ones they don't know. And I'm sure if you bring Anoya, I know if you talk about the one I don't know. I have no idea. And these things are changing lives. And this is why you were able to make the impact you made in Ukraine. Because they get to study your material. You know, on Sunday, maybe I think I'll share this. Some of those who live in this place, they were not in church.
No, I don't know.
So what happened was, they had a fellowship.
Okay.
In the house.
Okay.
So they had a fellowship.
And I was here.
You didn't know. They were downstairs. So what they did, they had a fellowship, a group of, I think there were 6 or so. So they first of all, they did their own praise and worship, and they prayed. After praying, then they put game on the table. So they put game on the table. So they started playing the game. So I don't know the game exactly, but the game has some cards. So you pick, I think the card, this was how it was, you pick a life question. Because I saw the card. So I think you pick a life question, and then you now start explaining. You start answering that question you picked. So that was how they were fellowshipping. So maybe another person will pick a Bible verse.
That is their Sunday service.
And start explaining what is there. And every other person will contribute to that person's question. And so they were just doing that. And they were there for they started from, I woke up 9, I woke up around 7. I think they started from around past 9 or 10, I'm not sure. And till 6, they were still there, enjoying themselves. And these are people you say they didn't go to church.
But they have different understanding, superior.
Yeah, superior understanding. And these things they were doing.
Very practical.
Very practical. And many of them were from your books because they were games that were built from your books. So life-related questions. And for them, that's fellowship. And so that's why when they go into the society, they are different.
They are functioning.
They are different. So just that. And I think that is where we are also going to in Nigeria, that there will be that difference. And those who are able to consume your materials without any bias, just for themselves, to make themselves better, to leave that level of just existing to becoming personalities, they would very soon begin to see the difference between them and their environment. They will just be lifted, and they will now be empowered to become the deliverers of that environment, because that is exactly what they will be discovering the purpose of life to be.
This form of Christianity that has been practiced has destroyed Christianity. Because why should they be looking at me and say, Pastor, how can you write these books? How are these books? Where are these topics coming from? But you know, everybody is supposed to be able to be trained. At least preachers, all pastors, all GOs are supposed to be able to do this.
No, they should naturally be able to do it, because, in fact, the whole essence of theology is for psychological embellishment, is for growth of the mind. That is the whole, that's the whole essence of theology. Because without the growth of the mind, and of course, I've asked people that when we talk about spiritual growth, does your spirit grow? I've asked that question, and nobody is able to prove to me that the spirit grows. So if the spirit does not grow, then how can you quantify or qualify something as spiritual growth? But in the whole essence, what grows is the identity, the ego, the id, and the superego. So that's the soul. It is the soul that grows. So anything that does not add to the growth of the soul is useless as far as man is concerned. And you find all of these spiritual arithmetics, all of these stuffs they just say and just release, it does not grow the people. And because it does not grow the people, it doesn't grow the community. Because the community cannot grow when the people are not growing. It's impossible to achieve national growth with a stagnated population. A stagnated citizenry cannot produce a growing nation. It's impossible. It's just impossible. An unhealthy citizenry cannot produce a healthy nation. It's just impossible. So you find out that all of the messages that they are preaching, quote unquote, are not leading to the growth of the mind of the people.
Started, you know exactly where they're going to finish.
Yeah.
Even all the examples.
Number one, there are two things. By the time they start all of the preaching, it's still going to end on collecting offering. Number two is the same message. Mary, Martha, Magdalene, Peter rose, and
Jesus went to the cross.
Jesus wept. It's just the same thing. What is the significance?
Or something buried in your fathers.
What is the significance? How can you say that I listened to this preaching today and my mind shifted to be and I'm going to be better?
I'm going to be an inventor.
Very few. If there are people doing this in Nigeria, there are very few. Of course, I want to believe there are those people, but very, very few. Very, very few.
Leave the church alone now.
Okay, so where do we go to? School?
There should be other people, even individuals who are just human beings, who should be doing this too. Okay, we have Wale Soyinka, but apart from being a Nobel laureate and writing plays and putting play, who are the people why is he doing it?
Well, for Wale, he will be saying
he's too old. Okay,
maybe not even just too old as of this time. He will be saying he focused on his own profession. Yeah, on his profession, which we may be able to give him a pass for that, because he
made his name.
He made his name, and he just focused on the literary works. But there are some people who are claiming to be motivational speakers, capacity builders. Those are the people who should be asking questions. Which capacity are you building?
Where is it?
Where is it?
Maybe they are also focusing on themselves, building their own capacity.
So you find the people who call themselves a keynote speaker, all of this and all of that. What is the product of your speech? So I think we should be, at least, maybe Wale Soyinka is not claiming that tag, so we could give him a pass. But all of these politicians who are saying that...
I was thinking maybe the academia.
The academia. In Nigeria, I don't know how much of academias...
I think they also focus on teaching in the classrooms.
Do they even do that teaching? That will be the question.
Well, that's what they are getting paid for.
And they are getting paid, but I don't think they are doing it. Because, for instance, I'll give you an example.
They might be teaching in the classroom. Maybe
no,
not
they are not even teaching. You come to Ukraine or UK or US, your teacher says, this is what you to do with your time, and you have a contrary opinion, and you say, sir, I don't believe this is what you do. If you do that in Nigeria, you are getting F for that class. And I think those are one of the things we'll be addressing during the HMT. How building a nation through questions.
Okay.
I mean,
you are going to
that, yeah. And you cannot question anything. So if you can be in a class and you cannot question anything, then how can you be taught? Because the whole idea of learning is that questions are being answered. It's not all about the information that's being given. I ask myself sometime, and maybe you can ask yourself too, why is it that of all the information you've ever read in this life, and many of us have information overload, but why is it that we remember just a bit? The truth is that the only ones we remember are the ones that answered certain questions. So if the way Pastor Sunday's book is, if it's not answering a question in me, there's no need for the information. So these lecturers may be giving information, but I bet you that they are not teaching. They are not teaching. So even in that field, they are completely redundant. And you can see that with the academic level in Nigeria. What is the result? How many inventors are we producing? How many authors of real context are we producing? How many researchers do we have? Of course, the government owns its part, but we can't blame the government, because I have also seen researchers who get grants for research. The first thing they do is, you know what it is, huh? They go buy a car. They go build a building.
Africa?
Yeah, in Nigeria, they get good grants. They get grants.
And go and build a house?
They go build the house. They don't use it for the research.
Wow.
They don't get,
I never heard that before.
They do that in Nigeria. So they are really not teaching, and I'm wondering what do they really do. So I don't know why people are not writing this, but I'm thinking that the more people you are raising, the more people you are challenging to ask questions. For example, there's this man in Poland who has just, after reading your book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam, and he lived it and it became a part of him. He also wrote something, you inspired him to write something called, I think he called it, I forgot the title. Is it Stop Looking for a Job, Start Working or something?
Okay.
Yeah. I think he sent that to you also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was inspired by the book Stop Working for Uncle Sam, and he digested it, it became it, and he's doing something. He's reading, at least now he's able to answer.
Did you finish 2 paragraphs?
We didn't finish 2 paragraphs.
We finished 1. Only the first one or the
We
second
finished
one?
half of the second one, so we are 1.5.
Our time,
Our time is up, yeah. Our time is really up. So I think the more people who are also listening to you, we also are the ones who will be taking this. And that's
we just need a new generation.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of raising a generation of temple cleansers and idol smashers. So I think the challenge now is on people like you, people like me, someone like Anu, who are getting
the next generation.
Yeah, who are getting materials and thought processes from you and are becoming. Well, I mean, we are really working hard to becoming, because for me that's the most important part, to become the message, to become what you are talking about. So if I can become what you are talking about, sir,
that's it.
Yeah, you can be rest assured that there are people to run the race. So I'm really focusing now on becoming the message. Yeah, on becoming the message. And I think even speaking with Anu, the same thing. So I mean, for us, it's just about becoming.
And you told me about another lady.
Yeah.
Well, by the time they go, because I need to come back.
Yeah, you are going to listen. That's Fisayo. Oh God, Fisayo is another wonderful lady, and I can't wait to meet her. We are going to
Nigeria.
We are going to do some things, and you'll be glad to see the result. All right, so I guess it's our time today. We were not able to go so far, but I hope that the discussion and the things we spoke about today was able to help you and see the light about Uncle Sam and what you should do and what you should not do, and the different phases that may be through working for Uncle Sam. We'll be back very soon, maybe after HMT, to talk about, to continue this letter. Probably, if we will be able to round it up. If not, then we'll continue for as long as that. So from me, it's goodbye, and from Pastor Sunday.
In 30 minutes, I'll be back with the next generation of temple cleansers and idol smashers. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. We love you, and we can't wait to have you back.
Bye.
Goodbye.